welcome to Wrestle Talk with Arabbidb3aver. And today joining me is the chairman of the board himself, the owner of the School of Morton, Mr. James Strange is here. Mr. James, how are you doing today?
Hey, thanks for having me on, Joseph. Appreciate it.
I am so glad you're here today, Mr. Strange. We've got a lot of scuttlebutt to talk about. We've also got to talk about some stuff that happened at the Bunk House Stampede. But before we get started there, let's start with you and your journey in professional wrestling. How did you get broke into the business?
Gosh, I started in 1986. And a friend of mine I worked with had told me he trained to be a pro wrestler, but he really didn't make it. So I was like, oh, man, I want to try. I was such a big fan, growing up and most of my life. So he actually hooked me up with a guy who kind of got me started. But I was trained by a guy, the Wild Samoan, Nick, out of Morristown, Tennessee. He actually trained a few guys, Killer Kyle and some folks, but that's actually who trained me to be in wrestling.
And when you were growing up, you said that you were a fan. Who is the biggest, most iconic star that you can remember? The one that made you want to be a professional wrestler?
Harley Race.
Harley Race. Funny story, since you mentioned him, that's how we actually got broke into the business, was by Harley Race. And I've told it several times, but I was working at the CW in Chattanooga, and he wanted wrestling to be in Chattanooga. He wanted bad to be in Chattanooga. And we had a board meeting, and I was on the board, and they voted to put him on at 2 o'clock in the morning, and he didn't care. And he was paying big money to be put on the air at 2 o'clock in the morning in Chattanooga for his thing. So, I really respect the hell out of Harley Race, because he was really the one that got us started in it and told us just to start coming to shows. And I don't want to say it was like slave labor, but it was definitely a learning process to get into the wrestling business. He made us put up chairs. We cleaned bathrooms. We did everything that we could do. We sold tickets. We did concession stands. He made sure that we were working, but he wanted to see if we were real. He wanted to make sure that our heart was in it for the right reasons and that we were going to be doing stuff. And Justin, his son, was so instrumental in just showing us the ropes, just helping us out. Don't listen to him. He's mean, but he really means well. So it was a really good time, to be in professional wrestling. That was in the early 2000s. Mr. Strange, what was it about Harley Race for you that made him the man? What was his pedigree for you?
Well, he was the world champion, and me and some of my friends that I went to school with my whole life, we would always go to Knoxville and watch Southeastern in the day. And I've got to see Harley defend the world title a few times at the Coliseum in Knoxville.
Wow.
So I just liked Harley. He was always been my favorite wrestler. I always loved his red and blue robe he wore. I've got some actual photos that I took in the 70s. They're on my personal Facebook page that I took of Harley and Ron Fuller and some of those folks wrestling.
Harley was a man's man. And I mean that in the best sense possible. If you did something wrong, Harley was going to let you know about it. And he was going to ride your case until you fixed it. He was going to make sure you made it right. But he also had a lot of competition problems. And I mean that in the best sense. He just wanted to be the best at everything. Everything that he put his heart into, every time he stepped into the ring, every time he was out of the ring, if you guys were traveling the road together, he wanted to be the best. He wanted to be there first. He wanted to make sure that he was coming in first and everything. And that's the biggest thing that sticks out in my mind with him, is whenever we were just learning the ropes and trying to go through and just get our footing in professional wrestling, he was always showing us you don't necessarily have to make it where you want to make it. You just got to be the best at what you're doing. And that means being better than you were yesterday. And I think that's the biggest thing that stuck with me from Harley, is be better than you were yesterday. You might screw up today. You're going to have problems, but be better than you were yesterday and work on it every day. Work on whatever you're doing every day to be better than you were yesterday. Mr. Strange, since I've got you here, and we know that you're the owner of the School of Morton, tell us how you got involved with Ricky Morton and the School of Morton, and how this just evolved over time to where you became the chairman of the board.
Well, I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina for many years and ran a lot of shows there. I had a wrestling school there with Jimmy Valiant and
The
had
Boogie Woogie Man.
years. So when I moved back to Tennessee, I got out of wrestling for a while and then decided to get back in it. And I just approached Ricky because I like to have somebody around that's made their living wrestling. Like Jimmy Valiant or Jimmy Golden or Tom Pritchard or Ricky. So I approached Ricky about it. It took us a whole year to even find a building, that we could afford to get the thing really going. So we were in our older building for 11 years, and we've just moved to a new location in Newport, Tennessee, in a strip mall. And we have a really nice building. It's so much better. We have a lot more space, and I've got all my rings set up in the building. So
well, I was going to say that. I was going to say you almost doubled your amount of space that you had from your last building that you were in. We were there on Friday night, the opening night, and you're located at 128 Five Rivers Plaza in Newport, Tennessee, is where you guys are at, in this beautiful little strip mall. And the amount of space that you've added, you were able to put the first ever ring that Mr. Ricky Morton and Bob Gibson were wrestling on as youngsters up. You were able to put another practice ring over on the other side. So you have lots of space in this building. I mean, that should tell you something, because then you've got the main ring as well, with all the cameras, all the footage, all the chairs around it, everything that you've got going for you. And it's a huge building, huge big deal for you. And then you even got extra space in the back for the Hall of Fame. So, I mean, it's amazing to see everything that you've done with what you were given at this new building, sir. And I look forward in the days to come to you expanding even more, especially the way that it's going now.
So we're definitely growing, and it's not all me. We have a lot of folks helping. A lot of our people. Again, we have the best locker room right now I've ever had.
I can believe that, sir, especially with the problems that have taken place in the past. And we're not going to harp on it a little bit. I know that there's people that are watching out there. Your haters are always going to be the ones that watch you the most, right? So
yeah.
I know that there's people out there that in the past have had some problems with the school, had some problems with what has gone on, and they've moved on and they've moved into a different avenue in their lives. And we're not going to give them any mention, but we're also going to say this. You all had to move on in a different way as well, and you've moved on for the better. It's like a well-oiled machine, as the Army used to tell us. You got to be a well-oiled machine, because it's just going to keep rolling whether you're here or not. And that's exactly what you've done, and you've made it to where it's viable with the talent that you brought in. Let's talk about a couple of them. What about Casey Kazana? What's going on with him?
Well, Casey's been injured, and he had to give up the East Tennessee title.
Oh, no.
So he's kind of on the shelf at the moment. He's
Oh.
had a bad sprained ankle. Something's wrong with his foot.
Well, I know he was training for you guys there for a while, too. Is this going to affect his training regimen?
No. Casey is still helping Kenzie Page, who's our head trainer. So they're training our people now. So they're working. They work Mondays and Wednesdays, and then I have another guy that comes in and does fitness training on Tuesdays, and then we have Scott and EC, who are the acting coaches and do all that kind of stuff for us. And so we work on Sundays doing our TV. I think the biggest thing, the difference between our place and anybody else, is we teach production and that kind of thing. These guys get to learn how to actually work television. If you ask Casey's brother, he'd tell you it was easier for him when he got to NWA, because he had been there working with us for so long.
And I think that's really what's missing in a lot of the smaller promotions is, yeah, you might have a static camera or a hard camera set up, but nobody's really teaching you how to work that hard camera and how to work the crowd and work them both together.
The biggest thing looking for a school, okay, is go learn from somebody who made their living wrestling. Okay. I don't claim to be a wrestling trainer. I just own the place. And I was a professional wrestler. I wrestled for many years, and I do some teaching. but I don't claim to be a professional wrestling trainer. Okay, you need to work with people who make their living wrestling. If you're, some Joe Schmo that's an independent wrestler who, had one little WWE tryout that was a joke, I mean, it's, give me a break. Okay, learn from people who have been there, done that. That's why I say, everybody goes on about us talking crap about, well, Ricky Morton's never there. Well, he is there. He's there 2 or 3 times a month, okay, or sometimes more, but his travel schedule's really busy, and he doesn't teach headlocks and basics. If he comes and he does training, he does really psychological stuff, and and two, we do some really good seminars. Okay, we've
Absolutely.
had some really good ones over the years.
Well, here recently, you had Mike Quackenbush that came in, and he was there for a seminar that you guys had. And Dump Truck was actually on our show on Tuesday, and he was talking about it. He was talking about all the different techniques and holds and all the different things, the up downs that he was making them do. And he said that he's extremely grateful for the seminars that you all have put on in the past because he learned something new at each one. And I think that's the biggest thing is if you're teachable, there's always going to be somebody that you can learn from, especially in a seminar or especially at a school setting. You're going to be able to learn something that you can take with you the rest of your life and hold on to it. Would you agree with
Well,
that?
that was one of the best seminars I think we've had. He's a really good teacher. Okay. And it's always the same old garbage. Let's get back into some of the drama. You got people out there telling people, oh, it's a money grab. All they're trying to do is make money, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, let me tell you how this went down. Yes, we're there to make a profit. Yes, we're there to make money. I've been there for 11 years and I've barely made any money. And if I do, it goes back into the school. And a lot of my personal money, thousands of dollars, has went into that school out of my own pocket. So really, it's not, I want to make money, but it's been a passion business for me. I just enjoy it. And one thing, I was a little bit tough on the boys when we first started because I wanted them to be our talent, not go work anywhere else. But once that kind of fell through, I never could get the buy-in from all the boys, obviously. So, and I was an asshole. And a lot of people left, that's my fault. But once we just opened the doors and I said, I don't give a shit where you go. Go wherever you want to, it's been a lot better. Okay. So, where I was getting to with Quackenbush, we had him booked. It had the hurricane. We had to cancel. Okay.
Right.
He paid for his plane ticket and lost his money. So when he came, here's how much money I made. 0. I gave him every penny. He collected all the money and I collected nothing from him. Okay, that was the money grab. He grabbed the money so he could teach the boys. And I'm telling you, it was impressive. That guy is impressive. He is great. I mean, great.
You said something a minute ago, and I'm going to bring it back up because I've been in business myself, and when you're in business to make money or to make as much money as you can make. But in the same aspect, you have to put money into your business in order for it to be viable, in order for you to have things that other people don't have and to make your product the best that it can be. And you got to innovate. You got to continually innovate with it. And I think that that's one of the things that you all have done and done successfully because you're putting the money back into the business and it's making your product you're definitely it's expendable as far as an expenditure goes. You're spending too much money into it, but at the same time, your product is so beautiful and it looks so crystal clear. It sounds really great. You've got great talent that work for you in the backside. And so you're able to do that with the money that you're making off of it. And I don't want to sit here and say that, you all are stingy or it's just a money grab. I don't want to say that at all, because like you just spoke about with Mike Quackenbush, the man lost everything he had and you all in turn gave him the money back. So, it made a great time for you guys to have a great show. And then in turn, look what he did for you guys with all the help that he gave you, the seminar that he gave you. That thing was amazing. You guys, I can't brag on that seminar enough. Everybody that went to that seminar brags on that seminar. There was something that he taught everybody that was there, and that's the key. Is everybody learned something and they were able to grow better than they
Well,
were.
when I got there the first day, I saw a guy who's been in the business probably 25 years, Menace. And I asked him, I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? He said, man, Mike Quackenbush is here. I need to learn. And you're talking about a guy that's been working forever and is he's a great wrestler.
And he's been all over.
Heck
He's
of a
been
talent and been all
every
over the
promotion you can
place.
think of, you know.
But he was there the entire time. I think he took every class that Quackenbush offered. And he told me after it was over, he's like, man, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But now we did have a really good seminar last summer too with EC3. Listen, he did 5 world title matches with the NWA title. We had 2 days of training where he worked his tail off. I had to pay him a lot of money, and I was really worried because at the end of it, I was about $500 out, not breaking even. But we ended up, after the last day, we had a few people come in and take the seminar, and I ended up making $150.
Wow, that's really good. That's really good. And he did such a great job with you. He even gave a world title shot, like you were talking about, to Mr. Tank. And Tank did an excellent job inside the ring with EC3. And that was taped for you guys. If you all missed it out there, it's on their YouTube page at Ricky Morton is where you want to go back and look for it. But Tank did such an awesome job with EC3, the former world heavyweight champion then. And now, I mean, you guys put butts in the seats just by doing stuff like that. And for Tank, that's something he'll never forget as long as he lives, Mr. Strange. And it was dedicated to you guys. Basically, you were the brain behind the operations there making that happen. So gotta thank you enough for that. Can't thank you enough for that.
Yeah, Tank's a good kid. He really is. You know, he has autism. He's autistic, but there was another young man, Christian Lee, that worked with him. You know, they tagged a little bit together. In fact, I think they tagged in our, which was a brainchild of Scott Elliott, the rock and roll tag team tournament.
Yeah.
Which was really, and we did it that same week. And I told Scott, I'm like, gosh almighty, it's just too much. Because we did 4 or 5 nights. We did the fairgrounds and we did the tag team tournament. It was a really stressful week. A lot of fun though. Yeah, and that's the big thing is if people are wanting to get ring time, don't let somebody talk you out of. I mean, you're going to be working with some of the best people. I just don't understand why people want to run their mouths, and it hurts other people because you learn from all kinds of people. Okay. Here's the deal. I don't tell people not to go other places. And I've had people come to me and go, hey man, am I going to be in trouble if I go up here and wrestle or if I go train? And I'm like, no, go. That's up to you. You know? Well,
Mr. Strange, tribalism is one of the most toxic traits in the world of wrestling that we've got. Right. And I'm just going to throw it out there because at the end of the day, you all have the same goal. That's to put on the best show that you can, have fans in the seats, make money, and eventually get your talent where they need to go as far as promotions go and help them in any way that you can get to that next level and be on the next level. And I don't see why it has to be so dog eat dog in this world, but it is. It's almost like territorialism is what it comes down to. Like 2 dogs that have a tree in the middle of the yard, but they both want to pee on it and they're both claiming it and then they want to fight over it. And it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, it really doesn't have to be that way. I know people, there's egos involved. People have lots of problems that they deal with on a daily basis. But I think that you have done the best you can to try to separate that out and say, hey, you know, if you want to work for this person or if you want to go here and if you want to go there, you be my guest. You know, get yourself the ring time that you deserve. Put yourself out there, book yourself, make as much money as you can, be good for yourself, And I think that that really helps the wrestling business. That's really what needs to happen is, if there's two promotions in the same town, why not try to work together every once in a while? You don't have to do it all the time, but work together, send your talent to each other, make each other better. That's the way it's supposed to be, right?
When I was in South Carolina and running in Charlotte, Jay Eagle ran in Chesney and some of those areas, and we always worked together, shared talent. I never had any drama like you have here in East Tennessee. East Tennessee must be the worst.
It's a lot of drama here in North Georgia.
Yeah, I didn't have that kind of stuff going. I think one reason is because we had the athletic commission. A lot of people couldn't afford to run. Yeah, because it takes money to do shows.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It takes quite a bit of money to do shows and to put on the shows and make sure that everything is taken care of. Because you got to think, let's say you don't own your building like you guys don't. You got to have rent, right? Then you got to have lights and water. Then you got to put up with whatever you got. So if you got concession stands, some parts of the state require you to have a health permit to run your concessions. So you're putting money into this show, and a lot of people don't see the backside of this. Is how are you going to cover your bills when you got all the bills up front? And so I think that you're right. You're absolutely.
They don't care. Okay. No. They don't care. Everybody wants a guarantee. Okay. And everybody, they don't care if they put any asses in the seats or not.
Well, the best way to put asses in the seats is to give people what they deserve. That's number one. And number two is you have to be able to tell storylines. I think that that's really what professional wrestling started missing a couple of years ago. Like the big industries, the storylines just weren't there. They're not there. And I'm sorry, I'm going to speak from my personal experience. I was an NWA, AWA kid growing up, and the storylines that were told in the NWA and the AWA made sense. I mean, you had Koloff, and you had Sergeant Slaughter, and you had, Bob Buckland. You had the people that were there that could tell a story of hate and love. Jimmy Hart. I mean, you had Jimmy Hart with Sergeant Slaughter at one point in time. I mean, my Lord, what else could you be asking for? Even the Memphis wrestling years. So, it really makes a difference when you've got great storylines coming out because, in Memphis, they had the sign that was on the wall, personal problems make money. They do. They make money, and it makes money all over wrestling. And they had it so believable that they would call the police, right, over stuff that would happen. And you guys are starting to get back to that. Is the storylines are starting to come together. The storytelling starting to come together. I'm not going to say acting because it's not acting. It's sports entertainment. But the sports entertainment side of it is coming together in the way that it's supposed to be, and it's causing you all to have a better show. So I give you the applaud on that. And then, like you said, bringing in the people to help you has not hurt you at all either, because you're bringing in the names that need to be there so that you can be viable, correct?
Exactly. And I have a good crew that helps write stories and what we do. I mean, let's don't insult people's intelligence. Obviously, it's a show. Okay. So, and it always has been. But we're just providing entertainment, So, and we want to try to do the best entertainment we can. Sometimes the talent doesn't understand that because they want to get their move set in. So they don't understand, we could go out there and I told a guy at the fair, I said, if you'll go out there and have a 1-minute match, you'll be shocked at how big the pop will be for your match. And then when we did it, he couldn't believe it. It was like, I can't believe how the people reacted. But we were telling a story, and, it's frustrating for me being an old timer and being around when it was still pretty secretive business and really hard to get into at the time. I was really fortunate to get into the business, but I was a big guy, and that's one thing that helped me. Never was the greatest wrestler or worker, if you want to call it, but I understood psychology. Could actually get a reaction out of the crowd.
Well, that's like 9/10 of it is what's been missing, is the psychology side of it. And that's why you got a lot of big brands that have thrown out and pardon my language on this, but complete trash of a show. And they can get away with it because in the 80s and 70s and 80s and early 90s, they were on top of the world and they made all the money in the world. So they've got all the money in the world to throw at a show so that it doesn't have to make sense anymore. So
true.
And I hate to be that guy because, you know, like I told you, I come at it from the NWA, AWA standpoint and all the farm systems, all the independent wrestling standpoint, especially East Tennessee. I'm real big in independent wrestling in East Tennessee. We follow everybody. We go everywhere. We try to keep up with everybody that's coming and promoting inside of our area, including new startups that come through. And we want to make sure that the product gets the best eyes on it as possible and the best possible exposure that we can give them, because we know that, you know, your words hurt. You can say one person can say the wrong thing and it can infect somebody's mind and impact them for 10 to 15 other people because they heard exactly what you said and exactly what you've done. And, you know, there's been a lot of stuff that's happened, like we spoke about earlier at the School of Morton, with a lot of people at the School of Morton. And there's been people that have walked away from the business because of that. However, you have to see that there's always two sides to every story. And Mr. Strange, you've never been able publicly to give your side to those stories. So we want to give you the opportunity to speak on anybody or anything that has happened in the past that you know of that you can move on, or you can be completely silent and we can move directly on.
Well, here's one thing I can say. A lot of it's bullshit. Excuse my French.
That's okay.
But it's just lies. I mean, people make up. I've did things I can't even imagine. People stirring up things that are just total lie. I mean, it seems like everybody knows all about School of Morton. Some people have never even walked through our doors. And, you know, that's social media and people getting on the keyboard.
Yes, sir.
And talking shit. Okay. You know, they'll talk shit on that keyboard, but they damn sure won't come and say it to your face. Okay.
Well, they won't even show up in public. They won't even show up to your show and be a part of your show to even see if it's actually true or if what's going on is actually true. And, you know, that's the thing is birds of a feather, they flock together. We know that they're going to group together.
Which is fine with me. I don't force anybody to come to my show. If you want to come, we're straight up. And, you know, KC told me one night, he goes, man, I've heard so many things about School of Morton, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, people ask me, why do you go up there to that damn place? And he loves it. You know, it's like he knows that it's all just fabricated. Okay. It really is. It's just fabrication. Okay. And I don't promise anybody anything. Okay. I don't. I never have. And it's like, it's the craziest thing you ever saw. I mean, people just want to run their mouths. It blows me away. Okay. It blows me away all the time.
It's almost like they don't have anything better to do.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. There was a guy here about a week ago, maybe a week and a half. And he made a comment about somebody canceled on his show. Okay. And it was like, they'll cancel on me and I'm paying them to be here, but they'll go work that school show. You know, listen, before those boys walk through our doors, they know we don't have the money to pay nobody. Okay. Because we got a pretty large, I always have had a pretty large rent, you know, and we don't draw 200 or 300 people there. I mean, let's tell it like it was. The first night we were there, we probably had 90 people there. Okay. And the rent is quite a bit. You know, I've had people gripe at me and I've had to sit them down. I said, okay, we had 30 people there and I was charging at that time $5 a head. Okay. So I said 30 times 5 is what?
150.
Okay. That's $150. And I said, I had 20 guys here training and probably 5 of them paid me. Okay. Because me and my wife sometimes are way too good-hearted, and you hear the sob story. Well, I want to train, but I don't have any money. So what do we do? Okay, go ahead. You can train. So what? You know, what's 5 times 5? $25. So now we're at $175. Okay, now that's what we made for 4 weeks. So 175 times 4 Can you do the math on that? I cannot.
Well, 175 times 4 times is 28. So carry your 2 over. That's 380 and some change.
Okay. The rent's $2,000. That's not on my new building. The new building's even higher than that. But my rent at the old building was $2,000. Then we got to pay the internet,
Right.
Photoshop. I got to pay the lights, the water. Okay. And then if something breaks down, we got to fix it. Okay.
And it's a labor of love for a lot of these people. That's the other thing that they're not mentioning with all these people who are talking about this stuff and bringing it up, is this is a labor of love. These people do this because they love this business and they want to be a part of this business any way possible. And whatever they've got to do to get exposure or to get into the limelight or whatever, that's what they're going to try to do. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I don't. I saw where somebody said we're going to change this exposure gimmick about not getting paid, which is bullshit. I don't tell people you're going to get exposure. I tell people bring gimmicks. If you sell 10 tickets, okay, if you sell 10 tickets and you got 10 people sitting in the audience, and Scott put all this together and made the little things for them to scan, okay, I'll pay you half, 50%. But you know, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 gimmick tables, and they're, you know, we'll have 30 guys there working, and I guarantee there's only 3 or 4 of them out there with gimmicks.
See, that drives me nuts because, like you said, the cat's kind of already out of the bag, right? So everybody knows what's going on in the wrestling business. Whether you're a heel or you're a babyface, you need to work the tables. You need to have merchandise. You need to have gimmicks. You need to have something set up so you can work those tables, because there's always going to be one fan that's going to remember you no matter what, whatever you're selling, whatever you're doing.
Let me tell you who's the best at it.
I would almost say it would be Ice Cream Truck, to be honest with you. In my opinion, is that
they
correct?
are. They have a lot of gimmicks and they sell a bunch of stuff. And they'll tell you, I'm not going to say it, but you can ask them to confirm. And they've got a ton more bookings.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, Truck told me nobody would book him, but they came up and started working with us, and his bookings went way up.
He went through the roof. And speaking of Truck, he has a match Friday night, tomorrow night, in Gastonia, North Carolina, for a heavyweight championship with See No Evil Wrestling. And he told us behind the scenes that it was thanks to the School of Morton, and he wanted to thank everybody there. So I'm going to do that personally live for Truck because he's not able to defend himself here.
Yeah, see, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't keep up with what these guys do besides when they're there with us on Sundays. Okay, yeah, I don't. And then when we're there on Sundays, I don't have a ton of time to be talking to anybody anyway, because our production, you know, we have a lot of technical difficulties, seems like, and you're trying to get those fixed before the show starts.
Yeah, absolutely. You are. You're definitely trying to make sure that you're keeping everything up. Casey and Connor got booked quite a bit of places from you guys as well. Connor, especially Connor Martin, is who we're talking about there when we speak about Connor, the Iron Raider of professional wrestling. He picked up some beside the ring championship wrestling bookings. He also picked up some extra SPCW bookings, and he was at Pile Driver Pro a couple weeks ago. I mean, he picked up a bunch of bookings just from the School of Morton, just from getting some exposure directly off of you guys. So, you know, to tell you the truth, man, you guys are actually helping more people than what these people are saying you're doing. You're giving them the exposure that they need and helping them get out there. And with the exposure,
not according to some of our haters.
Well, you know, they can
just use people. Okay, I'm using people. Well, yeah, I get tired of that kind of talk. You know, I mean, don't go away mad. Just go the hell away. Okay, leave us the hell alone. Go do your thing. Let us do our thing. Nobody's forced to be there to work ever. I don't hold a gun to somebody's head. Okay, they're there because they want to be there. Okay, and you know, I hate to even say this, but you know, everybody talks about it's a family and this and that. But yeah, you know, let's talk about this real quick. You know, we lost Bob Spires. 2 or
Bobby.
3 weeks ago. And I
Yes.
mean, we were actually doing our show, and the guy has a heart attack at the end of the first show, and he didn't make it. And I'll tell you what, he has touched, and I didn't know this. It's my fault too. I should get to know everybody a lot better. But it's so busy, and you got every person coming to you, go, hey, what am I doing in my mat? What do y'all do? And they aggravate the hell out of you. So I don't have time sometimes to get around. Yeah, I try to greet everybody. We have a meeting, and we'll get everybody up to talk. But Bobby was such a good man, and I didn't really realize how much he touched people at the school. There were so many comments about he was the first person I ran into. Man, he was encouraging. It made me feel comfortable. I know Evan Tolley or Bronson Garrett was one of those guys that got kind of caught up in all those lies and bullshit that was said, and he left upset and pissed, and he's even went online and talked a lot of garbage, and then we let him come back, okay, because I've always I told Evan that I was really hurt when he left because I thought we were friends, and he never called me and tried to reconcile. I mean, people just hold these grudges, and it blows me away, but hey, it don't eat at me. Here's how much the people that came after him knew about that whole group. Not one person even knows who they are.
Wow.
Because we don't even talk about them. When he came back, the only people he knew were the people that were there, still there when he was there. And Bronson has been a right hand to me for a long time. Okay. Him and Judas and Ricky Dooley. And, there's a lot of those guys that left that really have, it's like Dan. Man, Dan has been there at that school and worked his ass off and helped us. And, I hated when he left. And then a couple guys that really helped us with our live show was Corky McCorkle, who is a fantastic announcer and commentary. Chad Bartlett brought his friend Nathan in, and he's actually the one that taught us how to do the production. If it hadn't have been for those guys, we wouldn't be where we are. Okay. But, it's like anything else, man. One monkey don't kill the show, and we go right on. And that's the way it's going to be, whether you're there or you're not. As long as James is breathing, we're going to be there.
Well, I told you this privately, but I'm going to tell it publicly. Is I was working for another promotion at one point in time and doing a show for them, doing a post-production show for them, and announcing for that show. And we were let go. We were let go completely of that. And the first person that ever contacted me after I was let go was Bobby Lee, was Robert Spires. And he messaged me and he said, listen, it might not be today. It might not be tomorrow. It might not be a year from now. It might not be 3 years from now. But you're a diamond in the rough, and somebody's going to see it one day, and they're going to make you into the diamond you're supposed to be. They're going to pull you out. And he caught me at a great time because I was really hurt and heartbroken over the whole situation that had taken place, and I didn't know what to do or where to go. And he just encouraged me to stay in the business, stay around the business, stay in the radio side of it, and something would turn up. Something would be good of it. So I have nothing but love in my heart for that man, because I didn't even know that he was watching our show. I had no idea that he was even taking interest in it or anything. And he took a special interest in it. And once he found out what was going on, he was the first person to reach out. And that's the type of person he was.
Me and Bob worked together in Knoxville for a while. And he found out that I had the wrestling school. And we just started shooting the breeze because he's a wrestling fan. I'm a wrestling fan. And he just asked me one day, he said, man, I want to get involved. I want to come and be a part. And I was like, I thought about it at first, and I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't. He's a mark, and I don't want to have to deal with him, because there's enough stuff going on. But anyway, I asked him to come, and I'm so happy that I did. Because our time was very short, even though it was 2 or 3 years. it just it breaks my heart, that we lost him. And I mean, I just don't think anybody can fill his shoes.
I don't think anybody can. It doesn't
But
matter.
and it's not in commentary, because anybody can come in and do the commentary. It's that human being, that person, that guy that's smiling at that person coming in, because they don't know what they're getting into. We have a lot of people come. We want them to feel welcome and have a good time. And that's what I tell everybody. And I didn't do this because I was so perfection. And I'd gripe about the matches and, every little mistake everybody made. And I was really critical, and, it was horrible. And that's what I'm trying to teach some of our guys that are in leadership roles now. Hell, they're acting like I did 5 years ago. And you can't do that. They're being demanding, and, the people are there for fun, and we're not giving them anything. They're there on their dime to come and help us, but it's helping them too. You know what I mean? It's a works both ways. And I mean, we have some really great talent. Okay.
Bobby was the man that I can remember the most whenever I got with Harley. And, he came to some shows that we were going to, and he would always say, that spot you did right there, you need to do that every show. That's a great spot. And that's who he was. He was just the encourager. And the man just knew wrestling. He knew how to pull it out of you. He knew how to pull that special gift, that special talent you had out of you, and he knew how to make it shine. And like you said, you'll never be able to replace him. It doesn't matter. I'm sorry, I'm about to cry, man, because he really meant so much to me. But you'll never be able to replace the man. You'll never be able to replace the spirit. But man, he was such a good guy, and he knew how to pull the best out of everybody. It didn't matter what was going on in their life. He knew how to relate to them and talk to them and treat them like human beings. And that's the part that most people are going to miss about Robert.
Yeah, it's when we went back last Sunday, it was a little tough. Okay. And there's his mom. She's watching, and I know they're really hurting, and so are we. I mean, it was pretty tough. Yeah, I kept thinking about him the whole time, because when he'd come in, he'd have a big grin on his face, and it's just so bad. And then we lost another fan this week, Cassandra. And they were there. I'm pretty sure she was there with Angel on the very first day we opened. They drove up, So I think she had cancer.
She did.
But yeah, I mean, we've lost too many folks. We've lost quite a few at the school over the years. A few of our guys have passed away, Brandon Moore's dad, who was our cameraman, who had cancer, and Maverick, who one of the ladies that took pictures for us, Amy, she said it best. His light burned too bright for this world, and when he first walked through our doors, I thought, good God, man, there's a guy. He's going to go all the way. He had everything. But too many demons. He just didn't have them under control, and it ended up. It's Amy Berryman. I'm sorry, Amy. I said your name wrong. I said Angel for some reason, but it's Amy, who's a big fan and really nice lady. We appreciate everything she does. I think she has one of the wrestling pages. Wrestling 2000.
She's got 3 of them, I believe. And
does she?
Yeah, she's
well. See, I'm out of the loop. I don't keep up with a lot of that stuff. Okay,
that lady runs everything. She is all over the place, and she lets us post. She's nice and
I know they go to a lot of shows too. So
yeah, she
they've
does.
been to our shows, and I appreciate them a whole lot. The support they give us.
Well, Mr. Strange, I hate to put you on the spot since we're speaking about Bobby. Are we going to dedicate anything into his name as far as a match or Royal Rumble, anything in the future?
Well, I thought about the Bunk House, and calling it the Bobby Lee Bunk House Stampede. And we didn't do it this time because it was just so close. You know what I mean? I just really I was still in shock about the whole thing. Okay. But we'll probably do it next year because, his very first match that he ever called was the Bunk House Stampede.
Yeah, sure was.
It sure was. But I didn't even know that until I went back through some of our files and I played it and I actually posted it. So
I think that would be an excellent idea for next year. And for those of you that are watching, you're hearing it right here first. We're going to dedicate that next year to the memory of Bobby Lee. It'll be the Bobby Lee Bunkhouse Stampede at the School of Morton, and you don't want to miss it next year. Going to be an excellent time in the world of wrestling. Speaking of the Bunkhouse Stampede, we've got a lot of stuff that's happened at the Bunkhouse Stampede. We're going to move on just a little bit. Are you ready to talk about Michael Gabriel and what took place with Blade Gibson and all that?
Yeah, we had 4 title changes.
And this was just one of them. This is just one of the small little pieces towards the end of the show that took place. An impromptu match between Blade Gibson and Michael Gabriel because RT3, the original heavyweight champion, was just not able to make his bookings for some reason, and he got stripped of the title. So as you see right here, Blade is about to walk out and become the champion. And look, EC Dangerously smacks him in the face with the door right there. And Michael Gabriel takes full advantage here to get him right there for the cult leader special. And he's crawling over. He's going to get the 1, 2, 3 and win that title here. Mr. Strange, don't you find this awkward that EC Dangerously comes back the day he comes back, the day that he's there, he decides to give one of your best baby faces the gift of the door?
Can we go back and play the hybrid match? The finish on the hybrid match, if you have it.
I do have it.
I want to talk about what happened, and it kind of ties into that final match. I don't know what he's up to.
So right here, it looks like he's trying to get him out there, and right from the backhand, Devin Belcher comes out of nowhere and flatlines Blade Gibson and takes full advantage here with the chokehold, that D1 chokehold. And he's got him in locked tight, and he's going to stop breathing here. So
yeah, he choked him out. But let me say this: right before this happened, EC Dangerously gets on the microphone and says the production room said that Santiago, because Blade had already pinned Santiago, and he said that his shoulder was up and to restart the match.
Really?
Okay, well, let me say this. I was sitting in the production room, and yes, everybody's wired up and has microphones in their ears, and that never came out from anywhere. EC Dangerously took it upon himself to go out and do that. That message never came from the production room.
So
if you'll go back and listen.
Do you think EC Dangerously has a vendetta against Blade Gibson then?
Well, I don't know, but I'll tell you what, he's in league with Michael Gabriel and the cult he's put together. If you saw at the end of it, he's on his hands and knees in front of Michael. Yeah, again, now Michael Gabriel's a heck of a talent and a super guy.
You gotta wonder what's gonna happen with Michael Gabriel, especially with him having Hunter Wolf, which Hunter Wolf was banned from ringside in that match. He was banned from being out there. He's also aligned with Chase Bryant. He also has ties with Evan Golden, the Golden Child, and now EC Dangerously is coming into the fold, or so it seems.
That's what it looks like to me. And then you have, I think the guy's name is Chase Bryant. He's like 6'9" or something. And Gabriel's put together a whole crew of these giants. And obviously, what's that for? To cover his back. So whoever's going to take that title off of Michael Gabriel is going to have a rough road.
And I would agree with that, because they're not only going to have to fight Michael Gabriel, they're going to have to fight the Guiding Light Commune, as you were mentioning. I mean, it seems like he's adding new pieces to the puzzle every day, sir, every day. But I've got to tell you right now, up front, that it's going to take a strong individual to do it. It'll take somebody that has the heart and the desire and the fight of a Blade Gibson to do it. Would you agree with that?
Listen, Blade Gibson is a hell of a talent. That guy is great, and he has the heart and the fight. He went after the world title against EC3 and had a hell of a match with him. And now it's his opportunity to go for our SOM title. And he's the guy, if anybody that's got the heart to really go for it, it's Blade. Okay. And I'd love to see him win that belt, but it's going to be a rough road. And with these, I don't know what the deal is with EC3 or EC Dangerously, injecting himself in Blade's matches. So I don't know what's going on with that whole situation. I guess we'll find out in the coming weeks what's going on.
It also kind of begs a question of the former heavyweight champion, RT3. Do you think that RT3 would be the one that would be having more of a problem because of how he lost the title?
Well, RT3 is another good talent too. And basically why he wasn't there, but our powers that be, our general manager, Scott Elliott, decided that he was going to strip him because he hadn't defended the belt in a month or two. So they went ahead and stripped him, and then they made the match with Blade, which Blade was he deserved to have a shot at that title. He's worked hard and
I couldn't agree more, but your commentary team that was there had a problem with him getting a shot, saying that everything was handed to him and that he never had to work hard for anything.
Blade?
And they said, oh, yeah, Blade. They were talking about
Blade.
Blade.
Okay, but let's back up. You got a couple of guys there that are not, biased. They're over biased with the heels, which would be Judas and Malik. So really, you don't have a fair commentary there.
I'll give you that.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
I mean, there's not a fair commentary with those two.
But it does seem with the commentary team that they did have a point, and you do have to kind of admit that it does seem like he was just handed the opportunity at the Bunk House, especially after losing against Devin Belcher. And
did he really lose?
Well, he definitely did not get pinned. I'll say that.
And
so
he
that is
pinned Santiago. In my mind, it looked like he had him pinned. It sounded to me like EC Dangerously just took it upon himself to restart the match and act like it came from the back. So there's some controversy there. Listen, we've had a referee bought off against Blade, and he lost that belt to Devon Belcher.
Allegedly.
Okay. Well, the money was exchanged out next to ringside. I don't know if you saw it, but yeah, there was money exchanged. Now that referee is suspended right now, and they probably should suspend Malik because I think he had a big part in that too.
I would say so. I believe that he did as well. And like I said, this was all allegedly until proven, and you have video footage to prove that it did happen under Ricky Morton's YouTube page. You can go over there and check it out under Ricky Morton. You can go back just a couple of weeks ago, and the match he's talking about is Brandon Moore versus Blade Gibson is who he's facing for that hybrid championship.
Well, it was so bad they stripped Brandon of the belt.
That's very true. So they did.
They stripped the belt and put them in that three-way, the three deserving guys that should have a shot. And, really Blade won that match, and EC kind of screwed him out of it. So we'll have to get back. Scott Elliott's going to have to make a decision on that as the GM or whatever's going to happen. But as of right now, Devon Belcher, who's a heck of a talent too, is the hybrid champion.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if folks have went back and watched Fright Night, and we had the MMA match with Amp Dominic and Devon. which was a shoot. By the way, it got pretty rough. It even ended up, but the fans don't know this. We probably should have showed it, okay? But it bowled over into the parking lot.
Yeah.
In the back. And
Yes,
that's
sir.
a shoot, okay? It was at the end of that match was a shoot. There was some busted lips and some blood and that kind of stuff. That thing got really out of hand and then bowled over into the locker room outside.
Yeah, Zero got involved in the back. I mean, it turned into something that you definitely don't want to see. You don't want to see anybody get injured or hurt, but my Lord, it was all over the parking lot. It was all over the back of the back of the dressing room. They took it all the way outside. They took it everywhere. So I will attest to that. And then, like you said, coming out from that, we had also the loser leaves town match, I believe, between those two as well, right?
Yeah, and 2, Amp lost the match. So, but there was some Bronson Garrett obviously getting involved in the match and handing a foreign object to Devon. So I don't know if he got hit too hard with the foreign object and it pissed Amp off, but Amp was pretty upset. So, but here's the thing. If you want to see these matches, go to our YouTube page. You can search up School of Morton and be a part of our membership. And we have several members that have memberships every month. And that's where you'll get to watch the matches like the Bunk House Stampede. And there's a lot of our older stuff that's on there. Listen, I have that's not even up. I have thousands of videos of shows that we've did over 10 years. A lot of material and a lot of it's up in our membership. I don't even know how much is on there, but it's quite a bit.
And you got to think you guys put a show out just about every week for everybody to watch. So going back,
at one time we were doing 70 shows a year.
Right.
Okay. That was our regular Sunday shows, and then we were doing a lot of outside shows too. So yeah, we did a ton of shows. We were doing 6 fairgrounds at one time. We did a couple shows in Virginia, which I don't really like to do because of the athletic commission. They're hard to deal with,
Unfortunately, that's just a part of life, though. Whenever you move different states or different territories, the athletic commissions from different
territories. No, you got to deal with it.
You got to deal with them.
It's tough.
Let's go back to the Bunk House, though. We got a first ever champion at the Bunk House in one big man, the double X superstar himself. Max Abel was able to get a victory over Connor Martin and gain that East Tennessee Heavyweight Championship. Would you like to speak about it for just a moment, sir?
Well, again, Connor Martin, really, he's a good kid, and so is Max. So this is a great match. Both of these guys are really good. What a move.
A great move. And special guest referee Casey Kazana was there.
He didn't really want to count the 3, but he did because, Max has kind of been in his ear. And, and KC had to give up the belt. He was the champion, but he's hurt that ankle. And so he's never been beat for that title belt. But again, that belt has a lot of history. The first ever champion, and a lot of people may not even know this, but, I was a member of the NWA 20-something years ago, and we had NWA Rocky Top in Knoxville. That was my promotion. I owned it. And our very first champion was Tom Pritchard.
Wow.
And then the second champion was Jimmy Golden. So both of those guys have held that title belt. And then the first tag team champion with the East Tennessee titles was the Midnight Express, Bobby and Dennis Condrey. And then the second champions there was Ricky Morton and Brad Armstrong.
Wow.
And then I do have an X division belt too, and we were kind of tied in. We had Kid Cash come in, and he was actually the X Division champion. I think at TNA is who had that belt. So, they were with the NWA at the time when we did that. And Bill Behrens was the guy I was involved with the NWA. And so we did the X Division belt. And I don't know if you know Brad Thomas.
The name is real familiar. I know him.
Yeah, he was our first X Division champion. Man, what a great wrestler. And he worked a young man at the time, John Noble.
I know John.
Yeah, and John's a really great talent. So those were some of the folks that worked in that promotion. Man, it was a lot of fun. We drew really big. We sold out the Expo Center in Knoxville the first night we had the show. If you've ever watched it, and Tom Pritchard bled, it was horrible. That was a brand new belt. I think I'd paid $1,500 for that East Tennessee belt, and there's blood all over the belt.
Over it.
Probably still some of Tom's blood.
There is. I'd put money on that. Yeah, that's awesome. That's wonderful. You also crowned new tag team champions at the Bunk House as well. TKO and Manis ended up winning in a victory there. They ended up getting some great stuff, so they became those tag team champions right at the Bunk House. And you also crowned a brand new Bunk House boot winner in Evan Golden, the Golden Child. Which one would you like?
Well, the Bunk House with us is a Ricky Morton idea. He wanted to do that. We wanted to run how we started, and we stopped because the place went out of business. But we used to run every year on Christmas Day at the Johnson City Community Theater. And that's how Scott Elliott was actually running the theater at the time. That's how we met Scott. And I guess Kerry, he's did a bunch of acting and done plays. We went up there and watched a few plays, really good stuff. They did a good job with that place. But we do the Bunk House at the Johnson City Community Theater every year. So Ricky Morton won it the first year, which is a really good match. And, we need to buy us a cage. Our cage, we've had it for years. It's a little rough, but it looked really good at the theater because we could fit the lights where it lit it up really cool. And we're still trying to work on our lighting at the new building. We don't have a lot of plug-ins there, believe it or not. So we have a lot of stuff hooked into one area,
Well, it looks great. Everything that you've done for the new building looks great. So I can even say from the production standpoint that you've got, you're looking great. There'd be like, if, I've been in television, there'd be some minimal stuff that I'd make changes to, but that's just me personally. That's a personal preference on my part, but it's nothing that you guys can't get away with for now and have fun with it. And
you need to come and show us.
I'd love to.
Yeah, you need to come and show us what we could do better.
Well,
because we always want to get better with what we do.
You guys are always doing something great. You always have a great product. You always have good lighting. You always have. That's one of the big things that you'll see if you do. If you ever run to any of the major studio productions like they used to do in the 80s at Orlando, or you were in Tampa, or you were running PBS, the big studios have tons of light everywhere. And I'm not saying this to hurt you or hinder you, but you can tell a difference whenever you do a lot of television products and work with television products versus stuff that's backdoor. You guys don't look backdoor. You look television wise, but you got everybody's got room to grow, right? I've got room to grow. Yeah. You've got room to grow. We all got motivation to grow. And that includes everybody who wants to become a wrestler out there. For those of you that don't know, the School of Morton holds training opportunities throughout the week. And they also have a place where you can sign up directly right here through their website at the School of Morton. If you go right here to this training tab and click on it, it'll load this nice little page up. You want to be a wrestler, you got questions. It'll go through the experience from beginning to becoming a pro, what you should expect, the investment that you need to inspect in your time, your reality, everything, and you're committed. How do you pay for your training? It also shows Mike Quackenbush was there in December for you guys, and you can meet the trainers and get a little bit of their bio as well right off of the page directly to you guys. So, and if you're interested, you need to sign up now because the next classes start in just a few days, guys. That's Monday, January 27th. Is that correct? Still correct information, Mr. Strange?
Yeah, it is. We've got several people already signed up and ready to go. So There's a couple spots left if somebody wanted to jump in. I had a phone call today from a guy. I don't know where he lives, but he was interested. I told him it starts Monday. So we're doing a 12-week program. If you wanted to start out, now we're training Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Sundays.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Tuesday's a fitness training with Malik. If you didn't know, Malik's a fitness trainer. Okay, so he's going to be there. Oh, yeah. He's going to be there on Tuesdays doing fitness training. Okay, wow. And then Thursday's more of our advanced class where Ricky Morton will be there, one of the other guys and the guys that we have training, they teach what Ricky Morton would want to be taught. Okay, yeah.
And that makes a huge difference. And it's like you've been saying from the get-go, get with some people who have been in the industry, know the industry, and can train you to be inside the industry the way that you need. You need somebody who has that reputation that's going to be there. The School of Morton is a great place for those of you that are just starting out that would love to come and train and be a part of this. That would be the greatest place for you guys to start because not only are they going to have weekly shows, they're not only are they going to be putting on a great product for the people that are out there, but they're going to help you advance in any way possible that you can and host some of the greatest training events that we have known as of yet and still to come. There's still going to be more to come. But before we get on to that, I believe you have something special. I believe Truck gave it away. He said that you guys are going to be doing a show every Sunday now. And what's going to be happening there?
Well, we decided the guys wanted to split their teams. Okay, so I'm letting them do what they want to do. So they wanted to split the crews. They wanted to change the names of the shows. So now we're going to have two different shows. This is not my idea, my baby. This is our guys doing what they want to do. So one show is going to be SOM Legacy.
SOM Legacy, which is right here on your screen, guys. Go ahead and scan that promo code and get you some special tickets now. It's all for Ticket Leap. And remember, you got a special promo code right here with the Rabid Beaver. If you enter Rabid Beaver, that's RABIDBEAVER. That's capital R, capital B in there. At checkout, you'll get a special discount for those tickets as well. And if you don't believe me, you can scan the QR code right here under the School of Morton as well and get them right there directly as well with that special promo code as well. You don't want to miss this. And that's going to be for SOM Legacy, January 26th, February 9th, and February 23rd. The doors are going to open at 4 p.m. The bell time is going to be at 5:05 Eastern time right there, 128 Five Rivers Plaza in Newport, Tennessee. You guys do not want to miss that as it comes up. And moving forward, you had another brand as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, the second show is going to be called SOM Mayhem.
SOM Mayhem, which is going to be taking place February 2nd, February 16th, and March 2nd, 2025. Once again, on Ticket Leap, you can scan the QR code that's right here in the middle, or you can go right back to this QR code that's popping up on your screen right now, and you can scan it and enter the code RABBITBeaver at checkout. Get you some special discounted tickets for these shows right now. And as you see, they've got a great lineup for you. Michael Gabriel, you've got Bronson Garrett, Blade, Gibson, of course, Devon Belcher's going to be there, Javen Myra's going to be there, and so many more. Cousin Condry and everybody looks like it's going to be out there as well. Looks like you got a great show planned for everybody right there. Scan that QR code and get your tickets right now. You said that they're the talent, the boys in the back decided to name these shows. So there's got to be a huge story besides Legacy and Mayhem. Would you like to talk about that for a minute?
Well, all the boys on the Legacy show are Tom Pritchard marks.
Tom Pritchard marks. That's what we're going to go with.
I love Tom. But, it's the history behind the belts. And that's why they wanted to call it Legacy, because there is a legacy behind those belts that, it's a prideful thing for those guys, to hold that East Tennessee title, because Tom Pritchard, Jimmy Golden, and some of these guys have held that title belt. And, it's a big thing for Max Abus, his first belt.
Yeah. Huge.
And Devon Belcher, too. It's the first time he'd won a title belt. So that's a big deal to those guys. For Max, who was started out with Tom, Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Well, it's a giant success story for Max because you got to realize he's been through everything in 5 years. He's never won a title, and he's shown up to everything and been with everybody, and he's tried to make the best of it. And he's been handed the cards of crap from everybody. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
And now he's a champion, and nobody will ever be able to take that away from him. He'll always be able to say that he was the East Tennessee heavyweight champion, and he has legacy behind him now. So that's a huge thing for Max Abel, the Double X Superstar. We're giving you a shout out right here on Wrestle Talk with Arabbidb3aver. Congratulations on your East Tennessee heavyweight championship reign, and we hope that it's going to be a long and a good one for you, sir. Mr. James, I think we've covered everything tonight except for one thing that's on the list. I do believe that you have some extra training sessions that are going to be available here shortly with one Santino Marella. Is that correct? Did I get correct information on that?
Yeah, we have a big announcement. We're going to announce it right here. We haven't put it on our page yet, but we have got Santino Marella, who's going to be coming in on April 5th and 6th, and they're going to be doing a TNA evaluation and tryout.
Wow.
So there'll be more information on theschoolofmorton.com how to, get your spot in that seminar. It'll be 2 days. And then for the fans, he's actually going to be working a match on our show, on the Legacy show. And we'll be doing a meet and greet with the fans with Santino.
Awesome. That is so great news to hear. And we'll keep you posted whenever it comes out. Just let me know, Mr. James, and we'll post it out for them as well so that they can get involved in this whenever it happens. April 5th and 6th, 2025. The seminars with Santino Marella, 128 Five Rivers Plaza, Newport, Tennessee, at the School of Morton, holding those tryouts for TNA wrestling. That's a huge thing. I have some comments here from Josh Turner. Josh said, did you let him know the fact that TKO is amazing because it's the best news in the world?
Well, he's a legend in his own mind.
Yes, sir, he is. But he is brand new East Tennessee Tag Team Champion there. So we've got to give him credit. So congratulations, Josh Turner, TKO, for winning. And Josh Turner does a lot of the fight for autism. Is that correct? I mean, I do believe that's right.
Yes, he does.
So
he does a lot of good things.
It's near and dear to his heart. So we've got to give him a shout out. If you guys are looking for some good talent that will do some stuff for the fight for autism, or if you're looking to get involved in any good charities, Josh Turner is a great man to go ahead and get a hold of and book because he would love to be able to fight for autism for you.
Yeah.
All right, Mr.
Josh's
Strange.
a good man.
I think we've covered everything tonight, Mr. Strange. We've started out and moved all the way through what's going on here in the future for you guys. And I definitely want to give you one more shout out for your Ticket Leap page that's available. For those of you that don't know what it looks like, we're going to show it on the screen right now for you. If you go to ticketleap.com, as you see here, and you type in ticketleap.com, go through and hit the events tab, and you search School of Morton for Newport, Tennessee, and click search events. It's going to pop up right here for you. They've got both of the tapings for each show available. So Sunday, January 26, 2025, 5 p.m. is going to be the start time on this. 4 p.m. is when the doors are going to be opening. SOM Legacy is going to be taking place. Then February 2nd, SOM Mayhem, same time, same bat channel there. 5 p.m. is going to be the bell time. Doors going to be opening at 4 p.m. February 9th, like we mentioned earlier, 5 p.m. The doors are going to be, bell time is going to start at 5 p.m. The doors are going to be opening at 4 p.m. And then also February 16th, all of it's available for you. And all you got to do is click on one of these bad boys, add it to your cart. As you see, you can click the Get Tickets. Once you click there, go to your enter discount code, and you want to type in RABID, capital BEAVER. And then you're going to submit that. And once it's in your cart, it's going to drop you down. You can add which ticket that you want right here from it. You can do the front row for $16.30, or you can do general admission from $11.20. You just add it to your cart. You'll get a special promo as soon as it's available for you guys. And that's how you get your tickets for the School of Morton, for those of you that don't know. Mr. Strange, would you love to come back sometime and be a part of this?
I would, yeah. Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on, letting me talk. And I will say one thing. My favorite wrestler is AJ Kazana.
AJ Kazana?
Yeah.
The big brute, the cowboy himself?
Yeah. because KC said I'm James's favorite wrestler. I like his big brother better.
I won't tell him. We'll keep that quiet. Thank you, Mr. Strange, for being here. And all of you that were out there today, I want to thank you guys as well. Before I let you go, I want to let you know that we have the Power Slam Club to Buzzsprout. For those of you that want to keep us on the air on our radio show, go ahead and scan that code and give us a love gift that starts at $3 and can go to any amount that you want to give, up to $6,000. Just be a part of us and help us stay on the air. It doesn't matter what you give. We just want you to be a part of this. And you get special member discounts and also some behind the scene footage for Wrestle Talk with Rabid Beaver. And all of our reels are available on Facebook.com/Joseph D8 is how you find us there. And that's going to be something great for you guys as well. And then also before we go, we mentioned it earlier. We've got the School of Morton tickets available for you. You can scan that QR code once again at checkout. Hit that promo code, hit Rabid Beaver, and let it go through. And also, we've got our merchandise that is available for you as well through streamlabs.com/Arabbidb3aver/merchandise is how you can find us there. All you got to do is scan the QR code. It'll take you directly to the Wrestle Talk with Rabid Beaver page where you can get a nice polo like this in 5 different colors. So you guys can get all that stuff. We have hoodies, we have t-shirts, we have everything available for you guys that's going to be available. Just go ahead and scan that code and get taken over there right now. Mr. Strange, thank you so much for being a part of Wrestle Talk with Rabid Beaver, and we look forward to seeing you Sunday at the School of Morton, and you all should too. And remember, guys, you all heard it here first. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks for having me, Joseph, and thanks for promoting us.
You're so welcome.
I really appreciate it, okay? I really do. Thank you so much.
Y'all are so welcome anytime. Bye, guys.